Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to call this special council meeting to order on October the 2nd, 2025 at 2:03 p.m. We'll stay seated for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you very much. As we gather this afternoon, I acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? I don't believe we have any correspondence, so we'll move to the business for which the meeting was called, and it's in regards to 2026 budget and departmental capital, and we will start with the budget variance. And Luke, are you taking it from there?
Sure, I can. Thank you. Yeah, so as the mayor noted, this is kind of a kickoff discussion for the 2026 budgets. We have on the agenda the budget variance, which we'll be talking about in a minute. We have not every department within the organization. We have fire, public works, administration, and then other points of discussion that will be good to just put on the table, hear council's thoughts, staff can engage. We won't have all the answers today, but it will certainly help us move forward with to advance a budget that a subsequent meeting will be much closer to agreeable documents by the end of this meeting. So we do present the budget variance quarterly to council. And so here we are in October. We're approaching year end. We have a number of capital projects, and we're going to speak to the progress with public works in a minute. And so as I said, when you're in the year, the budget variance will be mostly reflective on 2025 progress where it stands. Andrea maintains this through our Algona software. Councillor Buckwell has noted some comments, and I'll leave that to you if you want to go through that today. We don't have all the answers today, but we can certainly take direction from council, come back. My thoughts are whether we come back and report at an October council meeting, or if we want to do another special council meeting for budgets, we can go after meetings like this and get through the work in that minutes. So I guess I can turn it back to the council with the budget variance document that's on the agenda.
So yeah, starting and just moving quickly then through the budget variance report. The first items are in regard to taxation revenues. Any questions or any comments on that portion? Councillor Buckles.
Mr. Chair. So I just had a one question on that section. Is there are a number of categories in there from the taxation system that were set at zero budgeted income, but when you look at the total of taxation revenues, the budget amount in the year to date are both very close. So I just wondered, those ones that were zero value budget entries, have they been incorporated into the residential portion just for the sake of getting the budget done last year?
I don't know, looking at previous years, it was always like that. I think it's just the software thing. Until you run the billing and payments come in, they don't get allocated to the right GI accounts until they're posted.
Okay.
For tax billing, I believe.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I was curious because I know when we do the budget, we see the breakdown, this is the tax rate and this sort of thing, but we don't always do a breakdown of what that's going to mean for the other categories other than the residential and farm, like the commercial and that. So that helps me with that. The other one I was curious about was line 1046. we had a lot more revenue there in the supplementary omits category. Any insight on?
There was a huge supplemental one, huge. For some of them were 2023, 2024, 25, 26,
Okay, so I was just catching up on
previous,
previously like changes to their assessment values
Yeah.
or? Okay.
lots of reasons.
Okay, but it is just because of supplemental billings?
Yes,
But thank you.
And just sorry, I want to just interrupt, if everybody's mics are on because of the viewers at home, just to make sure we're speaking. Thank you. Just on this budget variance, we have the next section is grants. We have the OCIF, which recently came in. The Ministry of Infrastructure was happy to early release that amount, but of course, we're down. I think from 2024, we're down at least $50,000. I have it here. Oh, not as much. So 2024, we were 277, 235. We're not as big as a drop in 2026, but we are, it's a steady decline in that grant anyway. So, and that goes towards our infrastructure costs, which are forever rising as well.
And I appreciate you giving us that. I think you gave us a 5-year summary of what the OCIF had been and where it is now. And as you say, it certainly indicates that it's declining every year. So
Yes, that's on this screen. It shows that.
yeah.
That's decline.
I don't know how that aligns up with the inflation factor, because it seems to be going the other way. Councilor Buckle, okay.
So in the grant section, I had two questions. I realized the first one you're probably not to be able to answer off the top of your head right now, but I'm just wondering what grant payments do we still have outstanding to come in yet this year? Just because some of the categories are lower than what the budget amount is. So, and again, I don't expect an answer on that one today. The other one I'd just like to mention is line 4900. I think we may have a software glitch in there because we have a budgeted amount listed. We have a 0 year to date, but we have a current month amount in there. And any of the other columns that I looked at, the current month was included in a year to date. So that may just be either a posting error or just a software glitch that must need to be looked into.
No,
Do.
And just maybe for clarification, the grant, there's the new horizons for seniors, federal and provincial. Was it two separate grants or why are we looking at two separate line items? It's a little confusing.
I have asked Karen for sure, but I believe they're two separate grants. Or one grant funded by both federal and provincial.
Oh, that could be.
I think if memory serves, that was a joint cover, 2% coming from each. One of the problems, one from the place.
That would make sense. Yes, thank you. Any other questions on grants? I'm seeing none, so then we'll move to revenues, or sorry, fees and other revenue. Any questions? Councilor Buckle?
Just one on bank interest. We had budgeted for a pretty significant amount, and we're only about a third of that. Would the remaining amounts be something we would expect in the final quarter of this year? Or was there a change in our financial position that led to the lower revenue for that?
which line is that?
Sorry, 1,371.40 bank interest.
Oh, yes, sorry, right there.
That's but again, all of these, right?
Yeah, worth looking into. We know, Andrea and I discussed this several times. We get not an outstanding rate of return for our township's money that's sitting in the bank, but We do have a number of GICs as well.
And that's what I was wondering, if it might have been like a GIC company at a certain time that, you know, the amount might come in. And again, I'm not expecting you to have answers for all these today, these are just the things that popped up with me at the time. And I'm just sharing the questions now so that all council is aware of them as we're going through.
You want to continue?
That's all I have for the revenue section, but I have a few more, let me go through the pages as well. So. Under the fees and other revenues. So line 1600-1311. We had a budget of only $700, but $21,000 amount there. And I'm just wondering, what constitutes miscellaneous revenue, and B, what would account for that huge amount?
We have the answer.
Oh, yeah, that one I knew right away. That's the WSIB revenue. The surplus we got from WSIB. I just need to make a new GL account for that.
But back to that, that would be something that I don't know if we can hash out before the end of the year, and that's fine if we just place it in the miscellaneous revenue. We do have a $20,000 surplus in the WSIB, so I think it'd be nice to allocate that or else it goes whichever is the best most, but that's where the money sits at present.
And at some point, if we could just find out what else would be covered with that miscellaneous revenue. And again, if you're looking at like something like that being broken down into another ledger line, if maybe some of the other things would fit somewhere. But because I recognize the miscellaneous revenue, the budget amount is a very small amount, so I don't expect there's a lot that's not accounted for. But that might just help clarify things for some.
So moving on to page 2, any other questions? We have maps, copies, facts, donations, sale of equipment, land, etc. Any questions? Councilor Buckle?
Just as Jack could refresh my memory on what equipment we sold in 2025.
Got it. So we sold our one ton truck. It was a 2003 one ton truck. We sold a tandem, so like it was a T3 tandem. We sold that one with the box on it. I believe that's all I sold.
Did you sell one more two or something or?
No, there's one I haven't put up for sale yet. I'm just kind of leaving it be, but there was one that council approved for surplus, and if I haven't put it on no deals as of yet.
Okay, thank you.
Just, yeah, we did better than the budget amount because we have 39,000 from sale of equipment and we only budgeted 7,500, so that's certainly a plus. So we'll move to 1,800. Oh, sorry, Councilor Buckle. Councilor Burns.
Should we put that land up for sale and go away? At 4 acres?
I think,
We don't use it.
we can, I think I can come back and we'll add that to the list of things to consider. I think that certainly could be a project for 2026 or a discussion.
So moving into 1,800 line item, and that's fire revenue. Any questions, comments? Councilor Ricky Funkle?
Just in 1820, do you think, because we had budgeted for more than we brought in, do you think there's still monies to come in, Chief Chen?
Currently, we're waiting on NTO to call us back. The reports are in, but they haven't approved them.
Okay,
And there's about $6,000 to $7,000 sitting there.
thank you.
Any other questions on the revenue? Nine-one-one signs. Building revenues. Dog tags, sewage system fees. Park cottage revenue. Snow drifter rentals. Oh, sorry.
Just keep the cottage rentals and stuff like that. I mean, I guess a discussion, and maybe it'll come under facilities review, for it's costing us more money truly than we're bringing in, so. You might need to have a different plan on how we're gonna deal with that.
Yeah, and I have each facility, generally speaking, on the agenda today, so we can.
Okay. All right, great.
So everybody good to go to page 3? Councilor Buckwell?
I actually have a question about the Golden Community Center rentals. We had budgeted 29,000 and we're only at 3,000. I just wondered, did we have regular renters that have not renewed for this year, or is there something else to account for the difference in that amount?
I wouldn't have an answer for you. It's been Don, or the assistant looks after the rentals, but I know that council did approve a lot of that free fees. I know there seems to be the common people that since I've been here 2 years that are renting it, but it was down, just to let you know, the last 4 weeks because of the flooring that we were going in, but yeah.
So we'll move to page 3. Any comments on, we have the Golden Lake Post Office, the lottery license, the shoreline revenues, Shaw Woods tipping fees and Burnt Road tipping fees. Councilor Buckwell.
Under township programs, 2450-1240. Again, we had a anticipated revenue of 11,000 and we're well, looks like we have another addition bridge there too. It's saying years to date 920, there's another. So we're only about 2,200 there as opposed to the 11,000. Just wondering if there's again, what does other municipal enterprises include, and if there's any idea what the cause is for the shortfall from the budget and expectation.
We're making all of that.
Just a comment back on the Golden Lake Community Center, that possibly is a typo. I can't believe that we would make 29,000. But then check into that.
Well, I was kind of curious about that too, because even when we have like the regular Sunday morning renters and it made that much.
Yeah, I can't see that being correct, but.
So yeah, that might have been just keystroke entry in the GL.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Maria, I haven't been paying enough attention to the screen. Did you have any questions so far?
Point. I'm okay, keep going.
Councilor Buckwell?
And then one more, and this might just be a procedural note in the capital revenues transfer to reserves. I'm presuming that doesn't get done until we get closer to the end of the fiscal year. And that's why we're still with that.
Yeah.
You know, okay, thank you.
Moving to the next page. And that's the council expenses. Questions, comments? Councilor Buckwell.
Again, looking at the categories for the council donations, all donations, and public relations. I'm just wondering if those numbers are up to date, because I'm pretty sure that if we add up again, the waivers that we've done for hall rentals and items like the Legion Book of Remembrance and other things that we've done through Legion Publishing, I'm thinking it should probably add up to more than those amounts there. Because at a previous meeting, I know there was concern with staff as to where we would be at if we could afford to make a decision at the last meeting on, I forget what the request was at the time. Those numbers just seem year to date look kind of low for what I would think we would actually need that.
So just looking at council expense, it's way over, so it's possible there could be just some reallocation between accounts.
Because that's one of the things that I've actually wondered, from the county, when council passed a resolution saying, yes, we're going to waive X number of dollars from someone's rental of a facility. Obviously, the income would be less, but are we offsetting that loss of revenue from all these budget lines at the same time? And that might just be procedural thing in the office. So we have a clear picture of it.
And that was a new line, if I'm not mistaken, for 2025 to help keep track of that, so maybe it's one of our internal processes that we would adopt in such to carry those through.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the council expenses? And the next one is elections. Will happen in 2026. Hopefully the postal strike will be resolved by then. Moving to 1,300 line items, the treasury, we have finance charges, employee assistance, tax sales, write-offs, and LAS. Any questions? Councilor Buckhold?
Just a couple under admin / computer expense. We're pretty over there. I was wondering if that related to the server upgrades that have been what we were looking at, or if there was something else leading into that.
I found that in 2025, there's a fair bit of maneuvering, and I have to go back of computer expenses. And we had our IT folks in a few times to address some needs.
Okay, so that category would include like the IT people coming in and.
Exactly, it's not the server, it was some higher needs I wouldn't expect on moving forward, but it was a little, I think there was a bump in this, yes.
Okay, and then clearing and reconciliation, I'm assuming some of that might tie into the taxation issues from the revenue side. Line 14,700, again, we got nothing budgeted, but about $6,000 there.
Okay.
And then the admin capital expenditures. Just wondered, did we get some really good deals, or do we still have work to be done on the capital side for admin?
I think our server, if I'm not mistaken, is follows that category. We're close to moving forward with that. I would like to do that in 2025. And just for councils, one of the big things is our accounting software, just to make sure that goes clean. We need to do it anyways. Our server is passes hosting.
Thank you.
That brings us to municipal hall. Any questions before we flip the page? Councilor Schoenfeld?
Maybe this is just a general question, because I know like the custodian comes out of a number of different, I guess, jails, but does the custodian at certain places on a regular basis, or just on a all-in because there was a rental?
And no, typically he would come in before rental at facilities, so if we want at the cottage or if we want to go to make one it's no difference, he would be expected to be there between prior to and after. He does come here in a general rotation to this office and in our workshop.
Okay, so just all the other ones are like when there was a booking before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the summer months, spring, summer months, some of the kids involved, these at the outdoor washrooms quite often because those are are used daily, so he's there probably at those 3 times a week.
And we have outdoor washrooms that we must require. Washroom and all these.
Well, you have them at Deacon, you have them at Beardman Park, you have them at Blessed Bishop Park, you have them in Golden Lake.
Okay.
So there's the 4, and he's going to those probably 3 times a week. You get a lot of theft with supplies, you get a lot of, a lot of use, and people don't technically take care of it when you're going to the public washing with them, so, they have to be looked after. But they're,
All right, thank you.
Councillor Robinson?
The legal fees. I was just wondering if, because there's still a little, somewhat under budget. Are there any outstanding things anticipated coming in because before the end of the year?
There is a little bit, but not significant amounts.
Not significant to the amount that was budgeted?
No, we will be, under budget. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Councillor Buckle?
And going back to municipal hall, just a couple of questions. And I've noticed this in a couple different facilities that we have, is that with 3 months to go, we're already at our budget enough for hydro use. So I want to give, moving forward, we may need to adjust that for next year, because we also have a couple of buildings that are significantly under for hydro use. So I'm wondering if maybe there's maybe some general entries there that might be potentially in the wrong spot to make up for that much of a difference. And municipal hall expense, I'm just would be interested in knowing what all that encompasses. That's not in another budget line.
2035.
2035, so yes. And again, if staff needs time to sort that out, that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll have to go into each account and look.
So moving on then to special project coordinator questions. Seeing none, then we'll go to fire department. Questions or comments? Councillor Schoenfeld?
Is the fire department now at its total staffing at both places?
We bring it in, it's full, and then waiting list for people wanting to get in. But Cold Lake, we're still short of 3.
Okay, thank you.
And just to follow up on how is the training and certification of the current firefighting team?
I don't have a precise percentage, but it's the vast majority of people either have the certification now or will have it prior to the first week of July.
That's good news. Councillor Buckle?
Just one question, line 2021, just the communications dispatch. I see we've budgeted an amount, but there's been no disbursements made yet. I'm just wondering, when do we pay dispatch?
I would have to go back and look up because I do not have that information.
Okay.
Any other questions on that page? Seeing none, and we'll go on to the next page, and that is again, fire department capital and capital equipment. Councillor Buckle?
Just one question on line 7203, Eagle electrification. I'm assuming that can come off the budget line for 2026.
I made a note for next year that it gets rolled into equal fires.
Thank you.
Councillor Schoenfeld?
Nothing to do with this, but did our fire department send the Douglas Fire Department on the passing of Chief Mateo or anything?
I passed on personally to Chief Mateo.
Okay,
I didn't do anything formal
Okay, no, I just want to make sure we recognize it. Okay, thank you.
So we'll move then to building inspector. Questions or comments? Bylaw enforcement. Livestock. So by the looks of this, we've had no livestock claims yet this year, which are they're kind of unusual.
There was one recently, within the last couple of weeks.
Okay. Next page. Fences. Animal control. Dog tags. Emergency plan. Council Buckle.
Just a quick question on, the CEMC salary line, so 1010 and 1325. With that position being held by an incumbent in a full-time position, do we need to budget additionally for this? Or would that just be worked in as part of that individual's duties?
I think it's worth to keep a budget for it. I think moving forward, I understand the province is changing. And I think it would be nice to keep options open for collaboration, such as with more regional CMC if that was an option. But right now that wage is not being used, so that budget line.
That's already shown.
So what are you hearing from the province then about that position? Are they looking at something totally different?
Well, there was a blast of information last year about it becoming kind of a regional directive, but I haven't heard anything in a while. So, yeah, it did seem like there was changes afoot, but it's been quiet.
Thank you.
That has also been a discussion at county because just from even the county's experience with flooding in 2017 and 19, it wasn't just restricted to one municipality. There were certainly a number of municipalities involved. So I think the province is, as Luke has indicated, are looking at a more regional type of emergency management plan when it comes to having to deal with, rather than each individual submitting a separate claim for working in a municipality, then it covers the larger area.
Because I know this was just during the flooding. Yeah, the county ultimate CEMC, so Steve also who was the main personnel then for the county. There wasn't a municipality in the county that he wasn't working with to get things done. And the county did take the lead on a lot of things with material stockpiling and coordination. So it's not a bad idea. I'd be interested to see what the province does with that if they do move ahead with it.
Right. Moving to policing, comments, Council Buckle.
Just a suggestion for the upcoming year that we change it from CPAC to detachment board. And we're probably gonna have to increase the amount that's in there with the new structure as well. Once the board actually develops the budget. So I would suggest something between 5,000 and 7,500 going forward.
Councilor Jean-Paul.
What is that money used for then? Like, I mean, if you're increasing that line,
Well,
why do you feel we have to increase the line? Is it good one?
well, under the new structure, we have to have members of the community as part of the board. So that still has to be addressed as far as how we're going to select them and that sort of thing. But there will need to be compensation for them to attend meetings.
Will they?
It's generally accepted, yes. It's not totally volunteer position. You expect to have somebody get paid for their time. The provincial appointees, I'm not sure there will also be one or two of those required. I'm not sure if the province pays them or if that becomes the responsibility of the board to pay. So there are potentially some remuneration issues to deal with. Plus just the running of the board. So the secretary's time.
Right.
Paying for their time, mailing, all the typical kind of overhead you would have, say, the library. Type of thing.
Any other questions on policing? Safety devices? Council Buckle?
I see that we're significantly under budget on, lines, 2, 3, and 4 there. Are there any projects or initiatives still to be built for that, or is it totally done for the year?
No, there's, just recently, in the last few days, we've, purchased some signage, that needs to be replaced. We have also under that amount, it's a consultant firm that goes around and checks your plans for activity. They're busy, they're trying to get it done by the end of October, hopefully. But anyway, so I think the last one we've completed was 2015 in this township, should be done annually. But anyway, I went ahead and purchased signs in anticipation of failures, so we can go and change them if need be. The other lines, there's some safety and materials. We have ordered some barricades and pylons and some tape in under that, which it's pretty much about $6,000 worth. In anticipation if there's flooding or anything in the spring. With the guide rails, I've contacted Houston, they're a barrier company. They missed it last year, hopefully they don't miss it again this year, but they said they're going to be doing it. That's the one on Les Cemetery Road and there's one on Trainmore Road. That may be a little bit over that price from what he told me, so the others should balance that item at 3006, it should be balanced out by the end of the year.
Councilor got the phone call?
When they check out the reflectivity of the signs, do they also say like certain signs are like on major tilter? Do they tell you any of that stuff?
Yeah,
Your sign should have to be,
absolutely, every sign should be straightened.
and they give you that information.
Absolutely, yeah, it's all part of it. And one thing that they don't do, and I think they should do, is the parameters around where they should be placed. Because a lot of them, that people don't realize, like the sign in the middle of each sign is supposed to be 7 feet above the center of the road. They have to be 1.5 meters on secondary roads and 2 meters on class 8-1 roads, kind of an thing. They don't do that, but they do tell you if they do fail for pretty effectively.
Okay, and I noticed in the B line when you're coming, let's say from the federal way and going into the village or hamlet of Rankin, there's a traffic sign there. Is that ours?
It isn't ours, it's Rankin Valley maintains that section for us and they have installed that.
Yeah, because it's kind of weird because it says 53, instead of saying 50, it says 53.
I have noticed that, yes.
Okay, because then I was thinking, is it ours, is it somebody else's, but it's Rankin Valley's. And I wonder, like a while ago, the person that lives right beside where it is had asked us to use one of ours because the found people were speeding and stuff. So did the Rankin Valley put it in just on their own, or do you think that resident may have contacted them? It's just kind of a weird place to do it.
I can't answer that, and there was possible contact, but all I know is Rankin Valley has installed that at the location that we had ours.
Right, okay, because I was just confused, because somebody had asked me that, and I said, the last time we put one out there, we had actually gone through our council and saying, yes, this is what we're gonna do, and I'm just kind of thought that. Okay, thank you.
And the question I had was more in regards to line painting, is that supposed to happen yet this year, or is the county, are you tagging on with the county?
I'm not tagging on with the county, but we are still, as in Houston company, we do have line painting coming, and they were late last year, first week of November, from what I understand, and I don't like to be the last on the list, but it seems to be that we are the last on the list, so.
That because of our township ending alphabet, we're double?
I'm not sure, because I know the county has been done for a few months now, and there's other townships that have been done. I noticed in Algona Valley, they just done on the weekend, so hopefully they're heading this way.
I agree, November's not the best time to be doing it.
No.
Thank you. So next item, or next page, I should say. We have Beavers, roadside maintenance, that's shouldering. Storm sewer, bridges, culverts. Hard top surface. Questions, comments, sweeping, oh, there's the line thinking. Gravel. Dust control, sorry, Adrian.
I can make comments on all of these items, so there are significant works being done as we speak, so there is some shouldering. That needs to be completed, and that will take up all of that budget line. Line painting is coming, there's a few gravel projects still left next week that should be completed. The sand material has been put up in the domes. We will be over on that line item. Because we haven't even purchased the salt yet for the first couple of months of winter. Health and safety, we haven't spent anything on that. The garage. We put in a new garage door. That needed to be replaced due to it's not sitting properly and being unsafe, that it could collapse on somebody. So that was that line item. It's a little bit over. That's all I really have for the culverts. We put in a significant amount of culverts this year. We put a large one, the 1,500 mil or 5 foot culvert we put on Sells Road. We put 5, 6 actually on Whale Station Road. There was significant flooding at the beginning of the year. You wouldn't know it at the end of the year, but beginning of the year there was significant flooding and we were having problems with beavers and damming things up. So we did, I think, corrected that problem for the next coming years. So I think we did 13 different culverts this year.
And you did, I guess, a couple on Roosevelt Road or maybe it was Burkett Road.
We did some on, yes, we did 1 or 2 on Trailblazers Road.
Council Ducklow?
Since we're on this page, licenses vehicles up to line 4030. We actually have a credit.
Yes, so the one tandem that we had in service last year, I was able to take the license plate back and get a rebate. So that's indicative of the rebate for the license that we took out for a year.
Okay, and I'm assuming then that the budgeted amount of 13,000. How is that what it's costing us for licensing for a year for a fleet?
It is, and they're due December 1st, so we'll receive that in the next probably week or so.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe if the postal strike, I'm not sure.
Councilor Ricky Schonfeld.
Do the public works, people, do they always get like every year the boot allowance and every year the jacket and clothing allowance, or is it like a 2-year thing?
No, it's annually.
Same.
It's 650 annually, yes.
Okay,
It is a little bit over, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was
it
just
is a
wondering.
little bit over. And council did approve that the new hires get safety equipment immediately.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we have had a couple of that came through and left the vehicle, so.
So will you make adjustments then in the budgeting for next year, like the amounts?
Well, yes, we would just take the head count and we divide, or we multiply how many full-time, how many part-time, and that's the number that we get, right?
But I'm also thinking like with your salt and sand, if you think we're gonna be over this year, that, you know,
Yeah.
2026, you'll increase that?
Yeah, we will, it's all dependent on, like, I'll give you an example, we'll get into capital works in a while, you'll see that capital works is probably 250,000, I'm just taking a guess, and about 200 and some thousand over. or under, I should say, so it looks great, but it was because I did an annual estimate of tonnage, so it was like $145 a ton the last so many years, or we got a great price of 111,000, so if you divide 111,000, is what, $34 less than what it is, times 6,800 a ton, that's a lot of money, right? So you kind of have to watch how you know, I could add some money to a certain line, but there's some you have to kind of stay stagnant, because you have to kind of, it's a guessing, a budget's a guessing. It's, you know, you're doing your best to put it out there, but you don't want to go too much over or too much under. Yeah, the salt probably will need to add a little bit more this year, but I don't think too much more, maybe 10,000. You know, by the time I order my loads for December, November and December.
And on the line 1310 conferences, workshops and courses. So is the number of people like, taking advantage of that line?
So we're still into training. We haven't completed our training yet. So there's a snowplow training course and a propane training course for all staff. I didn't attend any conferences this year. So that's why you're under, but it should be relatively close to the budgeted amount by the time the courses are completed.
Okay, thanks.
So moving on then down to overhead. Questions, comments? Councilor Richard?
So that one tractor, are you just going to, like, in your new budget for next year, you're looking at buying another tractor, or what's your plan? I guess is what I'm asking.
I'm not sure. I still have the tractor somewhat working. It works on and off. So we are using it. It is a nice tractor. I haven't made my mind up if I really want to put the money out to fix it.
This is the John Deere?
No, it's the case tractor that kind of went, but there was $11,000 to fix it, but maybe if I talk nicely to another mechanic, we might get a little bit cheaper and see if, because it, you know, all we used it for was the brush hogging along the side of the road and sweeping, right? Do we want to put out another $140,000-$150,000, or do we want to put in $10,000 to use that for
Right,
2 months?
just for those things.
Yeah, I haven't thought of that yet, but sure it'll come up.
You're thinking,
Sure, yes.
you're thinking. And the John Deere, how is it all okay?
Well, the John Deere tractor itself is working well. I mean, there was a glitch there the last week where we just minor things, but it's technically the brushing head that's going to fun.
Is it just because it's old? Like,
Well, yeah, it's, you know, like you have to see that it's well used, right? I mean, it's hitting rocks, it's hitting brush, it's hitting stumps, it's hitting everything. So there's a lot of jarring going on that piece of equipment. So it's actually an attachment to the John Deere tractor. They're about $65,000 to $85,000 that attachment. So that might be something we might look into of purchasing a new one instead of then just fixing the old tractor.
right.
So,
Are the new heads, are they like better and they can do more?
well, there's different types of heads. I mean, you get flail heads that are just, it's like I explain it to you, but I mean, it's just like on chains and they're like tires, and then you get ours is a blade, so we have a dual blade that spins, so you can have a mulching one, which is it's like a rotary drum with teeth on it, and it just kind of chips through with juice. So
Did ours used to go, I know, like this, but then go up like this, so you could like,
Yeah.
brush
it's
trees and stuff?
very dangerous. The one that we have is because it's blade.
Right,
So you have a three-wheeling blade flipping around, and you shouldn't have it in the air, but if it took off and hit a car or hit a person, it's supposed to be, it's not supposed to be like this. Now, the flail one or the rotary drum head can be, because it's one solid piece, right?
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is that something you consider going to, is the flail head?
More of the drum head, I think, but they're more expensive. Because you can take the drum head and it's a dual drum basically like this, so you open and close it depending on the size of tree or brush that you're cutting, and then you can saw it off in half and you can just make chips at it if you go. So it's something I haven't really made my mind up about that. piece of equipment either, but it's.
Just as some people, like, I guess some maybe it's more of the dirt roads were complaining, like some of the brush was encroaching, like by the stop signs or like, whether even by the driveways and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I know the other complaint we've had from the blade attachment is it throws some of the debris and brush
Yes.
back out onto the road and the,
it's not clean, I don't,
no,
no,
at least the one, like you say, that chips, it certainly decomposes quicker than after you make your pass.
it does, it's a little bit cleaner looking.
Any other questions on the overhead section or the vehicles and equipment? How's our grader, coming along?
Well, you know what happens when you speak about something,
Enough to-
you doing well so far, doing well so far. Yeah, we put some significant money into it in the last 2 years, but, we found out we've kind of resolved the transmission problem. We know it's not 100% and we know it's probably due soon. But knock on wood, it's been very good to us. The only issue I guess we had this year was the one tractor and the head of the other, the brushing head, that's two things. So if you look at my accounts, I kind of, the Volvo excavator, I didn't spend any of that money because I had to save some money up to pay for both of those tractors and the brushing head. If that's what you were wondering how I come up with the money, because I'm significantly over on the John Deere tractor, I'm over on the floats, I'm over on the, the one truck that was up for sale. But, I way under on the 2002 excavator just to kind of roll with those costs.
So I'm down there as far as roads. You want to speak to any of those, Adrian?
Yeah, so you see that, I don't know that offhand what I put in, or maybe I do. Offhand what I had for these roads, so Green Lake Road, let's see. Right Road, we had 325,000. And we spent 208, right? Merge Road, we had 965,000. Spent 707, and sold 100,000, 73,000, yeah. 773,522. Can't speak right now, but, and then if you look at, Black Creek Road, we had 210,000. We spent 140,000, right? So we are under in our total, our final numbers. Like I said, probably about, 200, almost 300,000. Well, there is some money coming out of that yet, but it'll be about 250,000. And mostly, like I said, that comes from the cost of asphalt being so cheap in the tender. So it was budgeted to be $145 per ton, and we got 100,000.
So the monies that weren't spent, we just put them back into our road reserve and build that into next year's budget.
So I would suggest to council that's what we would do, and then you move it forward into next year's, or you can keep it in reserve if you'd like, or if you put it into next year's capital works for roads. I know next year we've already engineered Forest Chute Road. Forest Chute's quite a busy road, and it's not only by our taxpayers in our township, it's well used by people all around going to the Longshore Caves and such, and cut off between Douglas and Eganville and such. So it is going to be engineered, and staff won't be putting too much time into that like we did on the roads this year. We will be doing all the secondary roads like Bird Road, Brewster Road. The staff will be working on doing pre-construction, but the Forest Chute Road will be 100% tendered, gravel, pulverizing, asphalt, paving and shoulder. So it may come in a little bit more than 550, I think, out of budget for this year. So there is something, if it does come in more than 550, you have a reserve from this year, $300,000 you can use. Or you can put it towards other ones. It's up to council, or you can just save it in reserve for whenever.
Councilor Rankin Schoenfeld.
I haven't been on my shoulder, have you shouldered my shoulder yet?
It's next week, tell me.
Okay, and then it's still a little bit unlikely over before that.
Yeah, a couple of those, yes.
Yeah, just before the case, so,
That's correct, yeah.
okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Moving down to the Burke Road sites in the Shaw Woods Waste site. Oh, Councilor Barco, sorry.
Just on the consultant's budget. Are they still working on something for us this year, or is it still done for the year?
So they start working on an annual report now, so that's where the money will go.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Rankin Schoenfeld.
Just as a way, like, to save money, and I don't know if we have any statistics. I mean, do we look at one point in time, maybe closing a Shaw Woods site down and just operating with the burn site along with the radio station? Just as a cost saving measure, that's something you've known
Luke and I have discussed this, it is probably in the future that we probably should be doing that. It's something that I don't know if, it's, I shouldn't say it's not worth it, I mean, it's worth it to some people if they come here and use it weekly, I get it, but I mean, to save, $40,000, it might be worth it, right?
I know some people from around here simply go because there's more days at Burn Bridge, right? And so they go there. I'm just wondering, like, sometimes, you have to save somewhere, maybe this is just a place we could save.
And our site at Donald Valley Waste Recovery, I mean, it's open 6 days a week, so,
Yes.
I mean, it's not that far.
Now, when I go talking to the one landfill attendant there, she does get a lot of people coming, like, throughout the
Yes,
week.
Yeah.
And from like Lake Dory area, not necessarily like my end. Okay.
Sorry, Councilor Burke.
Aaron said that I'll back that to the Bird Road this week and some stuff like.
we're gonna look at that, yeah, we have consultants coming there, not consultants, we have the Ministry of the Environment coming there on Tuesdays for an inspection. So, we will look into that.
Luke, you had a comment?
No, I just think it's an interesting conversation about the future of the Shaw Woods transfer.
And maybe if we decide something like that, I mean, it's always good to, like, see what the public would say, not like we don't have to do like a whole big survey and everything else, but sometimes if you put it out there and see how much feedback you actually get back,
Councilor Burke?
You have to pay for recycling and bring
No, I don't think so.
Sorry?
We don't have to pay recycling for it anymore.
No, we don't pay for the blue box program, no, we pay for everything else that's recycled, the tires, steel, batteries, compost. But we don't pay for the blue box, which is fiber and paint. So that's, I think we weren't sure, where did that number come? We weren't sure how much we were going to save, so we weren't sure what to put into that ag line. I think we have significant savings on that contract and hauling, yeah, so like, we're 85% less. Still left in the year, right? So we weren't sure what it's gonna cost us, so this year we can drop that down to pretty much what the final numbers are for this year.
And just again, talking about if we decided to close down this transfer site, do you think the biggest majority of users are cottagers in the summer?
I believe it is. I believe it is. Yeah.
Because I know it seems to be, the bins seem to be a lot fuller in the summer than they are in the winter.
Yes, we've had our cell phone closed a few times where she puts the excess sometimes and we come in and have to transfer it ourselves in the morning. But it's not, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. That's it. Sometimes it's not even that much, but it's, there are a few bags here.
That's what I jump on.
No, and I think I've just answered myself. I was just thinking like, could we operate it in the summertime and not the other months? But I'm sure what happens is it's a staffing issue. Like just to get somebody that will wanna give up their summers, for 3 months. And probably like, we not make a lot of money, and then it's probably a licensing issue anyway. It was a brainwave, but it's not gonna work.
Yes. Once, well, you have to, all ideas are valid, I mean, that's the way it is, but it might be for the ECA, they probably wouldn't give you a temporary ECA for
Right,
somewhere enough.
And that's what I was thinking after I opened them up, but
That's about all.
Well, actually, no, now that you mentioned that we're growing summer, because we have our C of A for the other one allows us to put the extra day on, because we had the Mondays from the year.
Yeah,
I don't know if it would be a problem to only run part of the year. There's nothing that says you have to have hours on a regular basis. I think we might be able to.
I think it would be a staffing, this year. Like trying to get somebody to.
You have to try and get, make it a summer student.
Yeah. The other thing too is if there was a need, maybe we can have an extra day of it.
Yeah.
They look like-
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, and like lots of people, like you said, if you're going into Pembroke, you just swing up Water Station Road and like they're lovely landfill attendants and no one can help you. The only negative thing, where we put our landfill stuff at that whatever station, they don't have a waste metal bin. So if you have waste metal, you have to go up to the one, that's the only thing. But I mean, but it has all the electronics and everything else, which is nice. It's just if you have waste metal, you have to go up around, which isn't a big piece. Big pain, but I think.
Not a bad conversation to have. Like when we get farther into the budget about,
Yeah,
do we want to make changes for next year? Because you want to make those changes before the summer season comes.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because we've done that in the past with changing hours back and forth every year. It's like, we need to decide what we're gonna do. Or maybe we decide that this year's a research year. And because it would be good to get some demographics on who's using it. Because I know at the Burnt Road, and I know the tenants out there, they've got a full list of who you are, what your address is. I don't know if that's being done at this end in much, but maybe that's something we should incorporate at this end if it's not being done. And I mean, that is now. It is now.
there is now,
But it is nice if we have some statistics, so that backs up what we want to do, right?
That was
I mean,
always good.
if it's like costing us, I'm gonna make like $40,000 or $50,000. But, it's really being underutilized, or, it's not a wise use of taxpayers' monies. Maybe that, but I mean, then at least we can say, well, here we go, these are kind of statistics to prove it, you know what I mean? And we've talked to some people and they said, yeah, that's a cost saving measure, we don't mind driving up to Golden Lake or.
Or even put in a quick little quarter-page survey out there for the people that use this site. Would it be problematic to go to one of the other sites in place of this site at a cost saving measure? And let's get some input from the actual users.
No, and that's right, because I mean, then they can't deal, and if you have like 100 people that fill out the survey and 10 people that are like, no, don't do it. Well, it's sad for them, but the other 90 seem to be okay with it.
I would think that if part of the users are from the main lake area, this would be the most convenient drop off for them. But anybody else in the township, like you say, weather station or Firm Jehovah's. Very close. Councillor Robinson.
Councillor Buckwall did indicate what I was thinking about. There should be some sort of assessment, because it's not just a matter of Mink Lake. There are people that are on Highway 60 that are very close to the Shaw Woods. It would be a big stretch for them to be driving to Burnt Road for throwing their garbage out. I know when I was, people are looking to try and get us to pick up their garbage at their house. So, just inconveniencing them that much more, I think, would be a harder thing. So I would suggest that, let's try and get a survey for who's actually using the Shawwood site and, their opinion and whether or not they would be driving, an extra 10 minutes to get their garbage put out.
Thank you. And the other comment I would have when we're talking about waste sites again is the bulk days. Staff did send out the bulk certificates with the tax bills this year, which seemed to go very well, but only 43 people actually used them. I really, again, don't see the need for that service based on the low number of usage that it receives. Councillor Wilberforce.
So because I go there frequently and I talked to the landfill attendant, they said though they emptied 2 or 3 big bins. So whoever went there took a lot of stuff. Because it wasn't just one bin over that time period, which I thought was interesting. So I thought there was more than 43 people. Now, some people also told me like, if they wish they would have gotten more of a heads up. I know we decided that and all in the last time, so I don't know if that would increase the numbers or not, but just a thought.
Okay, so, moving on down, we've got safe water, then we're at the community center. Gold Lake Community Center. The Recreation Administration. Snow directors. The New Horizon grant. And that does indicate, sorry, that answers my question. Thank you. It was a federal and provincial combined grant. Councilor Buckle.
Just a quick question on capital for the tourist growth grants, name records. 8,002. We budgeted just under 20 and we were at 60. Anything offhand?
What number, sorry?
Sorry, line 8,002 under snow drifters. So,
Bottom line.
so capital tourism growth grant. I couldn't find a corresponding grant in the revenue side for grants of anywhere near that amount, so I'm just trying to piece together what grant would be involved with that.
I'm not sure that Cameron would be the one that would be looking after that. But I know there's, she's had over, what the one for the renovation will
Well, I believe that's the
probably
renovation grant.
the renovation. Yeah.
What?
So with the ramp and the new doors and siding and the 2 windows. I believe that's what it is. But I don't think we paid out anything yet to that. So the contractor that's awarded that tender for RFP hasn't billed yet for that.
Well, because I'm looking, we've already spent $60,000 on it year to date.
About 40,000 over 20.
Yeah, there might have been some billing. I know there's some extras that was probably done, but I can't tell you for sure.
Okay, yeah, like I say, when I looked on the revenue side from grant, I didn't see anything budgeted close to that amount. Except for well, the only thing that would be close enough to that would be OSIP, and we know it's not that, so.
I'm
Would
pretty
it be
sure.
just our portion of it? The 19,000 would be, or the 195 would be only our portion.
Yeah, that would be ours, yeah, so that would have to be. Unless that was part of the seniors grant,
I think we'll have to ask Cameron.
yeah,
I think feedback's required.
yeah. And again, that's one of the ones on the list that I given Luke, so I'm not sure they'll look into that for us.
The volunteer for it.
Comments?
I'm just looking what we paid.
Okay, so down to swim admin. Very successful program, and then we're at the Lake Dory Lodge. Comments? Seeing none, we'll flip the page, parks. Councilor Schultz.
Just as a little aside, just some people that I know on Peterman's Park said how much nicer Peterman's Park was this year, so. Whoever was looking after it was doing, they felt a nicer job on your report. So if you can pass that out.
I'll let him know.
Perfect.
And I only had one complaint about the noise there,
Yeah,
so you're doing something right, Adrian.
yeah. That's, I'm relatively new to the township myself, it's the second summer, so I mean, you can't do everything at once, and so you hope that the staff that have been here prior to would help you out, so. Kyle and Kelly, that's our facility kind of cleaning guy, he picks up a lot of things, like small things, like changing the locks, the locks were all changed there, we put a couple of new benches there from Cameron's, so everybody was pitching, Cameron had the tours and granted, we put the new benches there, we cut the cattails all the way down, stuff that hasn't been done for a while, so I mean, every year now once you get a lot of it, you can do it every year, right, so. It's not me, it's everyone in general putting in the time.
Next one is Melissa Bishop Park. And township programs. Questions, Boncher Museum, Boncher Library.
Just a question on the sports user fees. Do we know how many residents are taking advantage of that program, or is that simply an access to the facilities fee?
I don't believe there's any tracking of that, Laura. So it's just a royalty almost to Montreal for the arena, so.
Just something I just think is sort of for programs like that, for fees like that, and other organizations that we contribute on a regular basis. Well, we've mentioned briefly at council about building that revenue budget. I'm wondering if maybe on the expense line we should have, just like we have a grant revenue section, we'll have a grant expense section for things like that that would go under there on a regular basis. Would that be suitable or feasible for finance?
How would we track that part of it though? And it's just primarily just a user fee for residents that use the rent, even though.
But so if they're, obviously they have to submit something to us to be reimbursed for that amount. I don't under that one,
No,
or
I think we just give Blanchard Valley that fee, and that covers the out of VV participants. So like the hockey and figure skaters, they never, I've never, when my kids were there, I've never taken X and brought it back to the township and stuff, so I think it's just a lump sum money that we give them.
So-
We'd asked for tracking before, just to know us,
Yeah.
but then I don't know, all that's done by volunteers and stuff like that. They take the registration, I'm pretty sure on the registration, it doesn't say where, it gives you an address, but then who's gonna look at the address and say you're from London?
I'm just wondering how to do arrive at that number, because that's like $20,880. That seems like a pretty specific amount, so there's got to be some kind of formula that it's being.
Well, last year they sent us it's an updated agreement. And so they're adding in a cost of living increase every year.
Okay, percentage wise, that would.
Percentage
for
wise, yes.
Involved. Okay. But I'm just curious, like how many users and how many residents is this actually benefiting?
I don't really like raising that in the PV because their claim is that we're under subsidized.
And I certainly understand that, because there are a lot of things that happen at the arena that goes beyond just the Montreal community, and I get that, and a lot of organizations are using it. It'd just be nice to have an idea as to what exactly is it, because if that's sports usually, if that's only going just to BV, then maybe we need to read the competitive so that it's more indicative of what it is.
It might be, yeah.
Right, that it's either supporting the arena or supporting their ball field or their infrastructure type thing. Because I don't like the user fees and I don't know how many users it's supporting. To me, that isn't very transparent.
Right, yeah, I mean, you could change it just BB arena fees. Because I don't think we're supporting like the soccer fields or the tennis court or anything else. It was probably just an easy word to use.
Probably the time, yeah.
Okay. That brings us to the final page. Any questions?
I would like to make a comment on staff. As I was going over this, I noticed that there are a lot of categories, and probably the majority of them that are within anywhere from a 25 to a 34% range of the total amounts for the year, which to me is where we should be when we're looking at the end of September. So it's nice to see that a lot of the values are up to date now, which in the past had been a challenge for us. So it's nice to see that the numbers are indicative of where we actually are. And those numbers that aren't where we amount of budget that we haven't spent yet, staff is needed to provide an understanding that it's because of what hasn't been done yet. So I would just like to thank staff for keeping it pretty much financially on track, which you don't this looks like.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Council.
Yeah, because you probably, I got it totally different.
I would just like to echo that, because I know Andrea certainly had quite the challenge with taxes, the summer tax bill, because of one program box that was incorrectly ticked off, and that caused her some stress for a couple of days, or maybe even a week.
Okay.
So
just two things. Number one is, so we always donate to the Rankin Cultural Community Center. So why don't we have a line like we do for the Volunteer Museum, I wonder? Because we always do that, and it's just a way of reducing stuff. The other thing too, Andrea, so remember the old tax bills, they always have on the rural, and then they have like 40 acres or 100 acres. Is there a way that next time those go back on?
It's just a checkbox.
Okay, so you're gonna check that box, because that makes it
I
easier.
can if you want.
I like that. No, everybody that gets multiple tax bills for different properties, like especially bush properties and stuff like that. I mean, that's the way I do it. Then I know I'm paying 89 acres, and then I have it set up in my whatever, those
This
bills.
is the extended legal.
Yeah, because it
You
makes.
don't tick that box, it won't print.
Because I just found it very handy. I was able to use the roll number, but the roll number is so large. Okay, but I mean, you did a great job, and I realized there was some issues.
So we'll tick that box next year.
Yeah, don't get tipped off. Just tick. Thanks.
Okay, so that's the budget variance. Luke, did you want to take it back over?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, if you pardon me by saying this, we did, as I mentioned at the beginning, I think there's a number of staff commitments. That people may have to feel better on football, including our deputy clerk who's running the technology behind this meeting. So, I don't know if we want to go through all the facilities, but I'm certainly open to either doing it again or taking council suggestions, or staff have some ideas for some items at these properties that may be beneficial for 2026, but for today, we can, Kevin's here and he can talk about his capital, Adrian's capital, we have the roads plan. And I'd like to talk to council about CPI and COLA, something that's massage our wage grade for 2026, because that's another significant salaries are significant cost for the municipality.
So maybe we'll start with Adrian. You have to leave at 3:30.
Yeah, sure. I'll just go through some of the line items listed in front of me. So we did pass the 5-year roads capital plan
What's up on the screen there?
last year, okay? So this year, we do have some significant road work that for 2026 up. P1 being paid, P being paid, and G being granted or paid or out. So Wheeler Station Road. It's 1.2 kilometers of paving. Roosevelt Road, coming in off Highway 60. It's 1.2 also. Burnt Road coming in off Highway 60. Those two roads are in dire straits. Like a lot of people using going to the wayside need to be completed. And we're going to just tack on Tanky Road because it's there. And it's,
Oh, yeah.
and it's very bad shape. I mean, it's very dangerous. There's only 2 residents, I think, back to it, but I mean, it's for the cost savings and to repair it, you might as well do it while you're there. Forestry Road is the big one. Like I said, it's well used, it's used by the Mennonites, very high traffic with Mennonites and horse and buggy. Shoulders are getting destroyed, so we would like to pave shoulder to shoulder and paint a white line, similar to, that cemetery. Road.
So that'll keep the bundle entirely on that front.
We're trying to, hopefully they'll stay on because we'll do a rounding, but only a half foot rounding. That way, if they go off the late asphalt, they're gonna be in trouble. Because what happened is in on Left Cemetery Road, they put another half a meter of a shoulder on there, and then they seem to drive on that with the one wheel. It kills the shoulder, kills the road. So I stay on the asphalt. That's what we're trying to promote. We did Black Creek Road in granular this year. It worked out really well. We put calcium after applying the gravel. It turned it almost into complete cement.
And it is really, like, I drove there the other day and I was amazed, like, I actually had a look to make sure it wasn't like Township, but
Yes.
whatever
So-
gravel they use.
So that's the process I would like to continue is to keep putting on the dust control of the calcium because that's what saves your granulars in the gravel.
Mhm.
If you don't save the granulars in the gravel, you get marbling and all you have is rock on top and deep where you get shot with rocks and you're fishtailing and everything, so. If council approves, I'm going to just keep going on with the gravel and then the calcium on top and we barely had to grade that road this year. Since we did that, it's amazing, and when I first got it the first summer, we were grading that once a week.
Mhm.
It's taken up some time. Norby Road isn't very long, it's at the back end of, Radio Station Road, it needs some gravel, very low and very muddy. And Passau Road, it's a small road, soft road, rail lines,
So those are the roads you're gonna do next year?
that's correct, yeah.
Which are the ones that are going to be paved?
The one that say P1.
I
Well,
don't-
it's, you
I
can't
don't
really
see
see
that.
that, okay, so it's over here, so the P, the paving is Radio Station Road, Louisville Road.
Okay.
Burn Road,
Oh, got it.
yeah,
Okay, thank
Yeah.
There's a problem.
you. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
yeah, so then I have my estimated budget, hopefully we got a good price that we did this year, I still will use the 5-year averages with asphalt. So I can get caught, because if you get caught the other way, then you're behind $50,000 instead of ahead.
Now, the one person at Goldfinch says his road's really deteriorating. Is it really deteriorating?
I just asked those people at Goldfinch to drive the road ahead of them and see what they're like compared to your own. Because Forestry Road is terrible. Green Lake Road, terrible. You know, and these are through roads. They're not like a cottage road where it's dead end and there's nobody going but yourselves, right? So I tried to make it fair and feasible for everybody, but you can't do every road at one time. It is on the list to be completed, I believe in 2029. Goldfinch and McMillan Road, the little section of McMillan, they're in 2029. I know it sounds like it's far away, but it's been probably in that condition for the last 20 years. So it was the old highway one that.
But since the people that live there, we're the only ones that use it most of.
That's correct, yeah. That's what I mean, and when you have Forestry Road, Green Lake Road, all these other roads like Wago Station Road, it's from Whit Road, Wago Station to Black Creek, people are using it, like not from our township, from everywhere. So anyway, I tried to make it fair. I just, those people, like, that's my comment when people say, why, what about that road? We'll drive the roads ahead of you. And plan and see what they're like. And you'll see. Okay, so that's the roads,
One comment, Adrian, is there any road in subsequent years that could be delayed so Cold Creek can get some attention because Cold Creek has been doing.
Yeah, Cold Creek is.
Since they've been doing the gas line along there, it's.
Yeah, Cold Creek is, you would have to take a major road out of it and move it. I refrain from trying to get away from the plan. If anything, you would add it to a plan.
Right,
Instead of removing it from a plan or switching stuff because we just want to make these decisions.
yeah,
Plan to be passed. If you take out a debenture just to get to that point, maybe we'll have to, like we've discussed that last year, that we probably will have to take out a debenture to keep going on with the plan. But that was in third or fourth year plan, and I believe from what Jen told us last year.
When you even from, Let's Cemetery to Main Lake, that seems to be the worst section of full free.
Yes,
I know the whole road isn't great, but that's to me is a
there's
worst.
probably a section of road off of Folgers that you could probably just bring back the gravel and put gravel and calcium in and make it turn like Black Creek. That's also an option until you get to the homes that are just, can't think of. Anyway, until you get to the homes for Main Lake Road, I guess. That's where you would probably leave the asphalt and just patch it until you can do that to it. But, I'll just move on. I don't have a lot of time, but I'll give you a few more moments and I'll just run through some things. Reserves, we spoke about the reserve from the roads of the savings from this year, just put it in the capital reserve for roads to the next year or subsequent. Alyssa Bishop Park, Lake Dory Lodge, they don't really have anything major planned for there. Golden Lake Community Hall, there's still windows to be installed for this year. It's part of the capital for this year. Snow drifters, I believe we should do the floor upstairs. I mean, we're all in now. You might as well, you can't stop. So I mean, do the windows upstairs. The windows are going to be about $22,000. I got the price for that. The ones in the basement have been done. The floors are going to be probably about 35,000. Something I'm going to promote to the council.
Have you been talked about tables and chairs like upstairs? Is that?
Cameron has
Okay.
up into that.
Okay.
Forestry, I don't know what that is. I'm for forestry. Deacon Boat Launch, we did put a gazebo there. Pretty much everything that we can put there is there. New benches were put in this year, gazebo put in this year. Did the new dock put in last year. Everybody's happy with that facility, I think. And I don't really have anything else to offer for the capital thing, but Snowbridge is probably the biggest one with flooring and windows. And you're probably looking at about $55,000 to $60,000, probably for capital expenditures.
Fort Shoot, I think that was maybe to put up a new fence.
Oh, yes. So I did speak to,
Each there.
I spoke to Luke about the Island View one, and we're still going through some little bit of survey issues and stuff like that, but once that's solidified, we can put a fence up.
Right.
To delineate the private property and the boat launch. And the Fort Shoot, well, we haven't discussed it, but yes.
Well, what would it cost to put a portable platform at the boat launch there at Island Drive?
We did have one there last year. I don't know the exact number that we had. We had it for that dirt and water festival, I believe. But I can check into that.
That's part usually being used a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is being used well. And that's all I have from Public Works, guys, and I'm sorry, but I do have to probably revert. And I hope, gives you some thought of what went on and what we're doing this next year, 2026. One other thing I haven't made for the equipment wise, there wasn't really anything for equipment that we needed other than possibly a tractor and possibly a brush knife. And you're looking at somewhere between 350 for the tractor and probably 75 for the brush knife. So.
Hey, thanks, Adrian.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Kevin, do you want to speak to the fire department?
Yes. Everybody loves to hear from the fire department when it comes time to purchase equipment. The next replacement, the unit that's scheduled for replacement is the pumper that's in Rankin. It was purchased in 2009, so 2029 is scheduled for replacement. Typically we have to order that by the end of 2027. And just doing some quick feels out along the people selling these things, we're looking at probably 850 for that particular piece of equipment. I know when we bought it, I think it was $295. So that just give you an idea what's gone on in the last 20 years. Following the next major piece of equipment is the tanker Gold Lake. And then that's not until 2037. We got a few years in between there. But we're definitely gonna have to start socking some money away. This year as far as Apple. For the current year was a bunker gear ongoing replacement. And the paving of parking lot at Rankin. And for the other capital equipment, that was the effort at putting an underground water tank in that went by the wayside. Pleased to report that we're making good progress on the second version with the above ground tank. We've got 94 spent so far, and we got another 16, just about $17,000 committed. And it looks like we're gonna be in probably about $10,000 underneath that 50. By the time everything's done. Fire protection grants. Last year's, for year one, they gave us just over $25,000. We got almost all of that spent under the current year. And for the one that just went in last week or earlier this week, they went in, it's been accepted. And they're taking an overview of it. And we asked actually for $52,953 for the stuff. So the provincial governments were very good about supporting us, although they do put some very serious restrictions on what it can be used for. So unfortunately, we can't put that towards apparatus. It's all stuff that deals with cancer prevention. The other thing that's coming up, not an immediate concern, but SCBA's, breathing apparatus. We're one of the very, very few that are still running low pressure bottles. And they're not making these bigger packs anymore, so you can't buy any more of them. And eventually, manufacturers can stop making parts. I don't expect that to happen for another about 10 years as well. But in order to, the replacement costs are going to be in the $190,000 to $200,000 range, because this is not something you go out and buy one or two a year. Because when you're trained to use these apparatus in an emergency situation, you got to be very clear on which unit you're using. So it's an all or nothing thing.
Are they included as eligible for grant money?
They are, but it wouldn't be anywhere near enough to replace them.
Even to cover some of it would be certainly a help.
Yes, but that's, well, let's see what happens with next year.
Right.
And year 3, because it is a 3-year program. So radio communications are a big deal with in this county. A number of the chiefs, a number of the municipalities have jumped ship from our existing system. We're using the Red Through Pack, the Ambulance Communication Center, and they've gone to alternate service providers. Problem is, when some of the people drop out of the system, cost for everybody else goes up. Now, just while I've been sitting here this afternoon, I had an email about a special meeting for everybody chiefs in the middle of October to discuss these. Apparently, they put together a proposal for new radio equipment. So I have no idea what's involved with it right now, but we'll see what we get, find out for you. And the only other thing is we're currently using Fire Pro 2 for our records management system. And that looks after all the calls, all the properties, all of our inventory, testing, our personnel, compensation, and the actual reports that go to the Ontario Fire Marshal's office. We found that the existing system of working with is plateaued. It's we can't support it properly. And the company works strictly out of DC. So it's often very difficult to get sufficient support from it. So we've gone out and got into negotiations with a company called First Due. We've got an entirely cloud-based system. Because right now, all of our software is on the one desktop computer in Rankin. Which is vulnerable if something happens to it. So, let you know we're moving ahead with that transfer, and it probably should be done by February.
Here's a question on that, Joe. Would it be worthwhile to check through LAS to see if they have a program available that has already been, they've already done the pricing on, and that well, maybe other municipalities are using?
Remind me who LIS is. This also overarching municipal kind of process like Canoe.
Yeah,
This one actually is based, it works through Canoe as well.
Oh, it does, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
I actually have heard it use that terminology. So.
How much would the, that gear cost, like one complete package of that gear?
Which years?
Well, the new gear that you're gonna get,
SCBA.
yeah,
The SCBA's, probably about $9,000 to $10,000 a piece.
per firefighter.
Well, every firefighter doesn't need his own, but we do need 20 of them. We put the trucks in there.
yeah, I'm just thinking like, you know how like, different businesses sponsor different hockey teams? Like, is it ever a possibility that you could go to a business, they'd sponsor that and be able to get a tax write-off or not?
It's entirely possible.
I don't know, I'm just thinking. I'm just trying to think outside the box, because that's quite expensive with a big drain. However, like, I mean, if at both fire stations, if you said, you know, sponsored by blah, 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 I don't know. I'm just a thought.
I can see how that would work. I can see that would be a lot of work
Yeah, but I mean,
involved.
if you struggling to get money, like,
Yeah.
and there's no grants coming in.
And is it possible to, I know, looking at a new pumper truck, they're certainly not cheap. BV was fortunate because they found a supplier who had one in stock or with a demo, and they got it at a fairly decent price as well. Any possibility that there's any more of those around in problems?
The one dealer I was speaking with yesterday, who gave me this 850 number, said he did have another one in stock right now. But it's also a 4-man cab, which adds about 5 feet to the length of it, and it doesn't fit all.
And it's not that good on the longer back door too.
Yeah, so it's a 35-foot truck, and a 30-foot space.
So there's no 2-person cabs out there right now.
Not too many, no. No, the last major apparatus we bought was the pumper tanker that's in Rankin. That one was actually a stock truck, when you mentioned. That they had built it, and we just accepted it the way it was.
Any other questions for the fire chief? Not seeing any, so did you want to wrap this up then, Luke, and maybe have another meeting where we talk about? I mean, there's certainly a lot of questions that council had that staff will have to spend some time on coming back, and maybe then we'll talk about facilities at the same time.
I think that'd be great. I think we have enough at this point, and we can start maybe continuing to progress, and if that works for the council. What do we think? Do we pull this into our total meeting? I know like this wouldn't have worked, this discussion, I don't think, for a regular council meeting, because it would have eaten up too much of it. But we can talk about it if we like another special meeting. Our next meeting is on move to the Monday, October 20th. To accommodate for me, thank you very much, council. So maybe late, or it's up to, this is my first.
Could we start earlier that day?
Well, that's a policy, so.
Just so that we could go through that stuff that we haven't, touched on? So I don't know, just a thought.
Yep.
Even an hour earlier,
Or an hour and a half.
okay?
Yeah, do you like to have a break between the council meeting times, or we've done it before, last time we had some sandwiches or something.
I know from my perspective, I'm just looking, there's still a fair bit of stuff in this
Yeah, there is.
that we didn't get to. I'm not sure that an hour, hour and a half would,
But it would be okay, we can still do another meeting at some point in time, like, I mean, too long a meeting's not good either. Right, but we could do like we did today, touching as much as we can. I
Well,
think this is better doing it this way.
here's another thing, I kind of threw our facility, do we want to have a fulsome discussion on facilities in a meeting, or do we need to, or? We kind of touched on it, and maybe some staff has some suggestions for some small inputs.
I would just, personally, I could just like an overall discussion about our facilities,
Okay,
that's really them,
so that,
you know, because a lot of my questions would like pertain to each one of those.
okay,
actually, maybe that's not a bad idea, like looking at the agenda here, like we've got. The various facilities, the boat launches, the parkettes, that sort of thing. Maybe that's the bulk of the meeting and maybe the responses to the stuff we could get answers for today.
Sure.
Sure.
Good thought.
Okay, so 5:30, is that what we're thinking?
That's right, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna put it right on it.
October the
Yeah.
20th.
or 5.
Or 30 on the 20th?
On the 20th, yes.
Okay, we're
Okay.
gonna say 5:30, what did we say?
Is everybody good with 5?
Okay.
I think 5 would be better.
Okay.
And then you have a chance for a break.
Sure. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Sure.
And anything else in the meantime that folks want to add, or doesn't, feel free to.
So we do have one closed item. Or two.
Just one, and we could do that now, or it's up to you, so that it's not overly time sensitive, well. It's,
Council. You the only
I'm
one.
good for
I'm
thought.
fine too. I'm fine.
But it
Laura has to be
will not be Laura.
I'm good until 4:30.
I'm good until 4 today. And I think Andrew, you want,
I think it's important.
I was hoping you feel 14. Myself for me.
You think we can do it in 15 minutes, Luke?
Yes, we can, sure.
Okay. So I have a resolution that council move into closed meeting pursuant to section 239, 2K of the Municipal Act. 1 for plans and instructions for negotiations. Moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor Burt.
Thanks, Tasha.
Yeah.
Please.
Do we have to shut them off?
Well, we're gonna close at 3:46. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So I have a motion that staff proceed as directed in closed session regarding plans and instructions. Moved by Councilor Burns, seconded by Councilor Buckwell.
You don't want to have.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And I have a confirmatory bylaw, that bylaw 2025-39 being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of council for October 2nd, 2025 are read at first and second time the second day of October 2025, moved by Councilor Reggie Schoenfeld, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And finally, I have a motion that this October 2nd, 2025 special meeting of council adjourns at 3:57, moved by Councilor Burge. Seconded by Councilor Buckwell. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We are adjourned at 3:50.